Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about, well, who's in charge. So let's get started. If you like what you hear today, please leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me a message. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about why our lives seem to kind of go the way they do and how certain things come to be. We often talk about how we can change our response to a particular situation and through that often control the situation to some degree. Again, not the bad things, just happen sometimes, but even those times that are really unpleasant, we can often mitigate to some degree by how we view them and respond to them. But what about all those things in life that we don't especially care for? Things like, perhaps our job, responsibilities, chores, all those things that always seem to take so much time in our lives. What got me thinking about this was today I was going through listening to a presentation at work, and I was kind of disappointed about some aspects of work recently. It kind of had to do with the quality of the work that was being assigned to me versus some of the other groups. And of course, my first reaction naturally is, why don't I get the more interesting projects? And after kind of sulking for a few seconds, I remembered why. You know, thought about it and said, I know I'm not involved in those projects. It was because I had chosen to not promote myself and pursue those projects because I knew they'd be more time intensive, they'd require additional attention, and that would impact my ability to work with you all on the podcast and the courses and all the things about pursuing our passion. Suddenly, I felt both a little bit silly and also slightly relieved and re energized, both for the podcast and also for the day job, because I realized that what I was jealous of was the thing that I had mindfully elected to not pursue. In other words, I was disappointed that things were going the way that I wanted them to go, which is kind of silly, isn't it? But thinking about it, I think we often tend to do that. When, we think we're working towards our goals and we all have our priorities in the order that we want. And then we see some sort of shiny new object and we immediately start resenting why we can't have that or do that too. What we forget is that we can have it, but we already decided that it wasn't consistent with our own life vision. We forget in the moment to check if that new want is something that will really help us or just distract us. This is why it's important to remember to revisit our goals and especially our own life vision on a regular basis, even once or twice a day. Life is full of distractions, both random things that just come across our path, and of course, all the things that are purposely trying to distract us, like social media, advertising, news headlines, all those other distractions that are around us all the time. This is why we should keep our vision in mind throughout the day, not just an occasional thought, but very much present in our life. Our mind will do everything in its power to make sure that we keep moving towards our vision, but it can't do that if we don't keep reminding it of what our vision really is. If we get the wicked wants over something, if every new thing that we see suddenly is something important, our mind will interpret that as our new vision. Instead, if we think about all the aspects of what our true vision really is, whether it's how we want to retire, how we want to spend our time, what sort of relationship we want, no matter what it is, our mind will quickly grasp what our true vision really is and not only lead us there, but it'll also help filter out the many distractions. But what about when we do get ourselves going in the wrong direction or when we do get jealous of something that really isn't all that important to us? Well, that's a great time to have a little positive, not negative, but positive self talk about learning to recognize the seemingly desirable but not truly important distractions from our real goals. This will help us and our mind reinforce what's really important and also to ignore those things that really don't have much value to us. I've talked about him before. We meet Sadie. He's somewhere on here. His book is behind me somewhere. But he has a saying that I love, which is spend extravagant. Let's start from the beginning. Big word, got me tripped up. Spend extravagantly on the things that you love and cut costs mercilessly on the things that you don't. This concept applies to time and focus as much as it does to physical things. Invest your time and attention to those things that will help you and lead you towards your true life vision. And the things that don't, just kind of banish them from consideration. Don't try and see if you can't fit in or something like that. If it's not leading you towards your life vision, then it really shouldn't be important to you. So back to the original question of who's in charge of your life and the events that seem to be important. Well, to a large degree, Each of us has a lot of input as to which things are considered important. Yes, the unexpected situation, emergencies do arise, but even those can be stepping stones towards your vision if you properly communicate your vision to your brain. And when we find ourselves craving something or being jealous, it's worth just stepping back a little bit and seeing if this new want is really consistent with our vision. Chances are it's not, because if it was, our brain would already be leading us towards doing it. And if we're thinking about whether or not it's important, probably that's our brain saying, why are you paying attention to that? It's not really what we want to do. And if the situation isn't leading us towards our vision, then it probably isn't worth wanting no matter what. So that's it for the evening. Remember to re-envision your true life vision at least every day, even during moments during the day when you might have a few seconds. The more we remind ourselves of what our life vision really is, then the easier it will be for our brain to find ways to make it possible. Your homework tonight is to revisit your life vision and make sure your goals are still leading you to where you want to go. If that's all good, then at least once a day, maybe even every morning, every night, really sit and truly immerse yourself in that vision and think about the next steps you want to take to really make it a reality. So please remember, as always, thank you very much for joining me tonight. And remember, there's many wars, stuff going on right now. There's political and social unrest throughout the world. Just lots of bad situations going on. And please check out our updated webpage, ukr7.com. That's for supporting the people of Ukraine. And forgot to actually put that up. I apologize. So ukr7.com. That's links to how you can support people in Ukraine. And then World Central Kitchen, WCK.org. They work throughout the world in disaster areas of any sort. And we talk about this every week. You know, those are really great. And a lot of people, they like to donate on a grand scale, and that's excellent. And there's a lot of local things as well. And there's a lot of charities around that help local people or special groups or people with special needs, whatever. There's a lot of local things. But even if you're not in a position or just not in a mindset right now to donate money to any of these groups, don't forget that just something as simple as a smile to a passerby can really change the day and make their life a little bit better. And that just tends to ripple out and make life better for a lot of people. So if you can think outside yourself, like we say, when you look outside yourself, it changes your whole perspective on the world, and it gives you a better feeling into how other people might be finding that particular day going in that particular situation. If you see somebody who looks sad, just smile. You don't have to have a big long conversation. Just say, hey, good morning. That's it. And somebody kind of like, wow, somebody actually paid attention to me, and it'll make them hopefully a little bit happier and have a little bit better day. As always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along, and please subscribe and hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week. Remember to live the life that you dream of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.